everyone kept saying, come 40, it's gonna suck, everything's downhill, you're pretty much done. I would see, things on the internet. It's like, oh, after 40, a woman's value goes down because she's no longer, really able to bear kids, or almost like women are useless after that age. It angered me, I guess, because it's like, okay, but I'm wiser now, I'm stronger now, and I don't understand this mentality.
All right, and we are live. Sylvia, welcome to the show.
Hello, hello.
Good to see you. Thank you very much for doing this. I
Good to
appreciate
see you
it.
too. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate the time and having this
Yeah,
opportunity.
no, you're one of the people I followed for a while. I've seen the work that you've put out on social media, and I mean, your strength is super impressive. But the message that you have around
Thank you.
fitness, I was really intrigued by of the work that you do. So I was excited to connect. We have a lot of mutual friends, and I think some mutual modalities that we've got into. But I've been really curious about your journey of all this going
Awesome.
forward. So let's bring it all the way back to start with. What are the origins of strength and fitness for you? Like, when did this start to really become a major part of your life?
So, a little bit of background, which will help explain, I guess, the intensity of why I train so hard and why I chose training specifically. Um, Growing up, I was always an active kid. Played sports, team sports, but I was a very small, weak ectomorph. I would eat a lot, but I would, if I had to run too much, I would end up throwing up. It was just very, very strange for me. Like sports and fitness was not a very good memory for me. I couldn't keep up with people. I was super, super skinny. I just had a really, really fast metabolism. And I felt like I couldn't retain, what I ate to build any muscle or have that strength or anything like that. So I was good at, short distance running, high jump, stuff like that. But it always stuck in my mind, not being able, not being strong enough, not being fast enough. So that's a little something that to keep in the back pocket. Um I was I continued to be active. I would go to the gym. So just a little thing. I grew up in Egypt, Cairo, Egypt, and I moved to Canada for university when I was 17 years old. So coming to Canada, I joined a gym, just did regular, what I could do, had a trainer, a few machines here and there, nothing too serious. Had my kids, and then that took me out of that scene for a while I was busy raising them. As soon as they were ready to go to work, sorry, to go to school, and I went back to work full time, that's when I started to look for something a little bit more. I don't know. I had more free time. I wanted to really get into something to keep me busy, to keep me active. Started doing boot camps, once a week. Enjoyed it. And then I started to see the guys training in the corner while I was doing my boot camps, and they're like, with the barbells, and they're going hard and heavy. And I was just like, I want to get into that. I want to try that. They're in the zone, they're focused, they've got the serious face on, and I'm like, I need something more. So, I got a trainer. I started to learn pull ups, started to learn, the basics, the fundamentals. And I'm like, okay, you know what? It's waking up something within me that feels good. Right. And I started to feel strong. And this is something for me, you know, growing up was always a thing for me. So I was like, you know what? I want to learn more. So I decided to do like a personal training thing just to learn, the ins and outs of everything for me. Not really to train anybody, but just so that I could get the back end information on everything. Started doing a bunch of certifications, started to really dive into fitness a little bit, harder. People started noticing that I was training so hard, and they're like, "Oh, you're training for a competition." I'm like,
It's
"Competition?
always
What's
something.
that?" And they're like, "Oh, there's bodybuilding, because you're starting to build muscle." And I was like, I didn't know what that was. In Egypt, we didn't have
Okay.
anything like that. And I was like, Googling it the next day. I'm like, what is this bodybuilding? What is bodybuilding? And I didn't know they had categories and any of that. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna try it. Why not? Got a coach, and that's when I learned, meal prepping, really, really, program training. And this for me was like a huge overhaul. Um, so I think that was the moment so there's things from that stuck with me, the meal prep, the training, the program training, the hard training. I enjoyed that. I liked having, something to work towards. But in this case, I would definitely say I enjoyed the journey more than the finish line. Because the finish line at the end of the day was standing on a stage with a bunch of other women and getting judged. That I was not a
Yeah.
fan of. That I was like, you know what? Honestly, and I respect and I love, the industry, and kudos to all these people that work hard for it. But for me, it's like we're all unique. We have so many different backgrounds. Our bodies are different. And I'm like, I'm fighting to look a certain way or to look like somebody else, and for me, it was too much mentally. And I think what got me is the last couple weeks when you go through, especially during peak week when you're dehydrated, your fat, levels go down. And then it brought me back to that skinny, weak,
Okay.
depleted, from
Sure.
back when I was growing up. And I'm like, okay, I don't like this. I worked so hard to train and be strong. And all of a sudden I feel so weak and tired. I'm like, no, I can't
Yeah.
do this. So I did I did the show. It was great. It was a good experience. I ended up doing another show after that, but then I walked away from that world. And I said, okay, right now I'm just going to do whatever I want to do in strength training. And that's where
I
kettlebells
love
came
it.
in. So that's just the long-winded story of how I got into training and how it picked up from there. But I would say, honestly, it was, competing that kind of opened my eyes to the world of more hardcore style
Sure.
training.
Yeah. No, there's something to
Yeah,
it. I want to dive a little deeper into that. But there is something to just a specific deadline and a competition when you know that this is the date to be ready on that. And whether
that's
it's, I
right.
mean, it's a very subjective industry on that front. You can have a lot of different opinions about it, but the foundation of having a specific goal where you have to follow a strategic plan is something that I think there's a lot of value to that. Bringing it all the way back though, Sylvia, with growing up in Egypt, what is the culture of fitness like in Egypt? I don't know it much from there. And you mentioned you felt personally like you never felt strong, you kind of felt weak. Was that a just a physical feeling, or was that also something that was more of a mental or psychological thing that you had growing up?
I mean, honestly, growing up in Egypt, like I never heard of gyms or anything like that. It was strictly whatever was shown to me in school. So high school and elementary school, and we would do our PE classes there. And it was we had our team sports. That's the only physical activity I was exposed to. I didn't do anything much out of school, like dance classes, gymnastics. Like I never took gymnastics. I never took martial arts as a kid, which is really popular here. In North America, that's what kids do, right? After school activities. I never did any of that in Egypt. So for me, it was whatever I was exposed to at school, and all my friends, they were just like, they're always bigger than me, stronger than me, and just so it was, I think, a mix, psychological and also, what I was surrounded with. Um, but yeah, it was I was never taken to a gym. I didn't even honestly at that time, I didn't even know if there were any gyms, to be
Were there?
honest. I'm
Do you
sure there
know
were.
now? Is it a cultural build?
Now it's
Is it?
completely different. Now they've got
Okay.
kettlebells, they've got like barbells. Absolutely. Like I follow a bunch of people over in that world, and it's completely changed, which is great. It's great to see, and you see these women and they're in there and they're doing these things. But this is something I was never exposed to. growing up in Egypt. Like I didn't even know what bodybuilding was. I thought it was just a male, sport and like Arnold and stuff like that. But I never knew that, women were actually doing it or anything
Yeah.
like that.
So you were
So
doing boot camp and then kind of saw these guys with the barbells. Like there was a mentality, there was something about that that was calling to you on that. And then you got into it. You said you felt there was something that unlocked or kind of really spoke to you of it. What was that feeling like? Was it like the physical feeling of having something heavy in your hand, or what was that kind of evolution in time like for you?
absolutely. I think most of it, so while I was doing the boot camp, I would see the two sections of the gym. I would see the cardio area, and I would see the women on there, and they're doing the stepper, and they're walking on the treadmill. And I'd look at the free weight area, and I'd see these guys going at it, and something about that power, that strength, that, I don't know, it was like almost like a raw aggression that drew me to it. I don't know what it was. And I was just like, I see the cardio machine, and cardio and ectomorphs. For me, I'm like, yeah, no, I wanna lift like that. I wanna be strong. I'd see them, on the pull up bars, and I'm like, I want to do that, and that's where the whole pull up journey started. Where it's like, it just looks so badass.
Yeah, I know. We have a mutual love for the pull up, which I will dive into with you there. So, what was that transition like? Was that a self-taught thing for you? Did you get mentorship or coaching at that time to help you like transition into kind of this new realm?
Absolutely. I reached out. I looked into personal training because at that time, just to jump up into the bar and grab it was a huge fear for me. Like, I don't know. It was just like I would stare at the bar and I was like, okay, I'm gonna grab it. I'm gonna grab it. And I don't know. I think as we get older, things like jumping and grabbing onto things become so scary. And that's one thing I notice about over 40 women is we stop doing that, right? A lot of women stop doing that, and all of a sudden it's like, okay, can you just jump onto this little bench there? And it's like hesitation, right? So for me, I definitely had help. I had a great bunch of coaches that I reached out to, and it's like, I want to do this. Can you help me with this? A lot of research, a lot of certifications that I took to get me into that mindset and just to learn the mechanics of what my body can do and trial and error. But I had that thirst for it. So it was a long nonstop road of like, you know, trying to learn as much as I could so I could push my body as much
Yeah.
as I could.
It's interesting you said that like that time of that peak week, right, with the dehydration and stuff, and a lot of old memories are popping up down that line. I'm sure that's kind of a mind fuck in some ways of things.
Absolutely. That feeling, honestly, it's horrible. And I have pictures still on my phone that will pop up occasionally, and it just brings me right back to how I felt back in Egypt, just small and just weak. And it's just like, and I'm like, for what? I'd rather be, full and just feeling strong. It's at the end of the day, it's that feeling. It's that feeling where you feel capable, that you're not tired, you're not, just depleted, or you know, you're not starving. That's the one thing, and this is why I think I've been able to sustain, like I don't go through bulking periods, or periods where I cut. Like my Instagram, the pictures all look the same year after year after year, because this is me on any given time. I'm not, my photo shoots are, I'll have people call me up. It's like, "Oh, can you do a photo shoot next week?" I'm like, "Okay, let's do it." I don't prep for it, right? It's whatever you see is what you get. I don't, okay, I'm going to have to like starve myself or go, not drink water, dehydrate myself or whatnot, just to whatever. I don't go through stages like that with my body. I don't deprive my body of anything that, it wants,
Yeah, there's an
basically.
old adage of, if you stay ready, you never have to get ready, and I think you're the poster woman of that, I would say
Absolutely.
on that.
And I'm happy. Like I'm not starving. It's not like, if I want that donut, I'll have that donut. I have my Nutella every single day. I'm a huge Nutella freak. It's I we buy the jars from Costco, the big ones. So I have my sugar, like I eat. People assume, "Oh, you must be so strict in your diet. Like, how do you do it?" And I'm like, "Yes, I meal prep during the day, during the week, but I enjoy it. Like it's something I've gotten used to. Um, and in the weekends, I'll eat whatever I want. So I have that balance. And I train and I move a lot. So my calories in versus calories out, there's always like a balance, but I'm not even calculating it. It's something I don't know, it's like a routine now I've fallen into. And this is why it's sustainable
Sure.
for me. For me, it's
Yeah.
very sustainable.
I think it's a very idealistic mindset that I think everybody wants to be, of like being strong, of looking fit, but also not depriving yourself of the things that do have some joy to it. And I
Absolutely.
think, it's a beautiful romantic view of that, but it is very challenging to do that on to actually a lifestyle. And I think you've done that very well. Was that an intentional practice that you had to develop and build, or was that something that along the process you were like, no, I feel strong. I want to look strong, but I also want to enjoy, this thing. What is that process like for you, Sylvia? Of not just like balance is a nice word to say, but then actually living it and
Right.
practicing it is something different. How do you approach that?
So it all began again back to competing. That's when I was exposed to meal prepping, and eating a certain number of meals, just calorie counting and all of that, which I had never done in my life. As an ectomorph, you try and eat as much as you can. And that's when changes around family lifestyle happened. I had young kids. All of a sudden, I couldn't eat what they were eating. All of a sudden, I couldn't eat at the same time they were eating. So everything changed in terms of, is this really good? I mean, I can't eat with them. I can't eat the same things. I can't eat at the same time. All of a sudden, I wasn't having meals with them. So I think that was a big sacrificial change, I would say, getting into that meal prep world. So that was not fun. That was not fun.
Why wasn't it fun?
I mean, it's family time, dinners. It wasn't the same. Or my kids come up to me, it's like, "Oh, I got an ice cream. Here, have an ice cream." And my coach would obviously that was not part of my plan during, and it's like, "Oh, I can't," and I feel so bad. And they're looking at me, it's like, "Why can't you eat it?" They couldn't understand, especially me, that I would eat everything. So that was a little strange. And I remember my mom, she's like, "Oh, the competition's coming to an end. Now you can be normal, right? You can go back to being normal." And I'm like, and I remember I was like, "Yeah, that's true." But and then it was from then that I was like, "You know what? I like the aspect of meal prepping and having all my meals done during the week. I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to eat out." And I just my body felt good, especially combined with the training, having that clean food, the extra protein, that I decided that I was going to keep that portion of the prep of the competition, just the meal prepping part of it. The training would be a little bit different, and obviously the amount of calories, the counting, I would tailor it to me, to what felt good to me. So there have been sacrifices. You know, I don't socially, I used to, I guess, have the social drink here and there. Now I don't enjoy it at all. Anything that I feel will slow me down the next day for my training, I will avoid. So that means sleep is very important. So, I mean, I go to bed at 8 o'clock at night now, and I'm up at 4:15 in the morning. So that's a big sacrifice because I feel like the world, there's so much happening after 8 p.m. as
Of
well.
course, yeah.
People are like, texting and, "Oh, let's do this and let's do that." I'm like, "No, sorry,
Yeah.
I gotta sleep." You
Well,
know, so
I think there's an important lesson on, on balance. I always think a better word to use is harmony rather than balance, because, balance seems like
Absolutely.
everything needs to be even all at one spot. It's like, no, some things are going to elevate for a time, other times are going to be less productive. But
Absolutely.
I think, the only way that you can find balance is by going to the extremes a little bit. Like, there is times where I think you have to push that edge a little bit, like doing a competition or like meal prep and like that is one version of the extreme, right? Where everything needs to be dialed in
Absolutely.
at one point. And then once you
Absolutely.
experience like the deep, end of one side, then you can understand the middle zone a little bit more. Okay, maybe I want to be a little bit more, yeah, a
You
little bit
tweak it.
more free on my food side, but I really feel
Exactly.
good when I go to sleep at 8 o'clock, and like maybe that's an extreme version
Exactly.
there, but I think we have this craving always for finding balance. But if you don't know what the ends are, you have no idea where that middle point is. So you need to flirt with those lines a little
Absolutely.
bit. And I think that just really comes from either experience or, adopting experience from somebody else in some realm or it. But I don't think you can, like, nobody starts off with balance. Like, if you're at the beginning
Oh,
of the journey,
absolutely
you
not.
need to go to the extremes
Absolutely.
at some point. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And there's a lot of trial error. And again, there's a lot of sacrifices, and it's not always going to be fun. It's things you're going to have to change things, and you're going to have to give up on a lot of things. And like, you can set a clock Monday to Friday on my schedule. Like, I am so routine with my food, with when I wake up, when I leave the house. And of course, having my dog keeps me very disciplined too, because we're both then, if I'm slacking, he's going to give me that look like, hey, what's going on? You know what I mean? So we keep each other accountable. Weekends, it's a free for all. I eat whatever I want. I do whatever I want. Mostly it's like all the fitness things that I don't do during the week. But it's people that hear about my lifestyle and how I do things are like, oh, that's extreme. I could never go to bed at 8 o'clock, whatever. And I understand that. And it wasn't something like you said that I just one day decided to do it. It's through a lot of trial and error of what works for me. And at the end of the day, what helps me feel healthier, stronger, and just better, that I've implemented those things into my life bit by bit. I've tweaked, I've changed things around, and I've just reached the point right now that I've been able to sustain what I do right now and be happy. I'm not miserable, you know? Come 8 o'clock, my body already naturally starts to wind down, and I'm tired. I'm tired. And I'm like, I'm going to sleep. You know what I mean? So I've gotten used to that lifestyle that for me,
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
even think about
Is
it.
there a challenge in that with kind of the shift in energy from like Friday to Saturday kind of opens up a little bit more on that? Is there a challenge still at all of kind of shifting like avatars, like I'm Sylvia, the Monday through Friday routine focus
Yeah.
warrior versus the weekend where I'm opening up a little bit? Is there still any challenges there for you at all?
There is. Obviously, at night, I will, come that time, it's like, okay, I start to yawn, I start to get tired, but I mean, um, I'll go out to eat, movies, restaurants, just to get out. So that I mean, it's hard, but again, it's fun time, right? It's not as bad. But sometimes, yeah, if it's been a long week, and I'll need like a downtime. But again, weekends for me are workshops and clients, and so it's really nonstop. But it's like a little bit of a different pace from my work life, my a 9 to 5 work life. So it is like stepping into a different time zone, it feels like. But again, I've
Yeah.
gotten used to it.
So you do some, we'll call it unconventional training methods in there. I know you've been involved with the Strong First community and kettlebells and barbells. I see a lot of other work that you're aiming for. So kind of if you put them all together, it's like a little unconventional type work that you do. When did that
Absolutely.
start to come into play for your life, and what was it about that style of training that like was calling to you that you wanted to really focus on and build on more?
So, I mean, so I started, regular dumbbell, barbell training. I loved, I dived a little bit into the powerlifting world. It was just like, the benching and the deadlifts and the squats and then when I was exposed to kettlebells, it was fun for me. Um, I think especially with the cast iron ones, not the competition style where, you start off with this small little, 8 or 12 kilo bell, and then all of a sudden you get stronger. You got the 16, you got the 20, you got the 24, you got the 28. It's like, oh my God, they're getting bigger. I think for me, that was, it just turned into a self challenge. It's like, okay, this feels good and this feels strong and I feel strong and this makes me feel good. And then online, you start to get involved with this community of all these, people working with kettlebells, and all of a sudden you see them with the sandbags and you see them with the clubs, and it's just like, okay, I think I need this because, kettlebells is, tension and strength, where it's with the clubs and the mace, it's more upper body mobility. And this is something that I need given all the pull-ups that I do. I'm super, super tight. Um, so then I start to play around, and I'm pretty much open to any tool that, I mean, you'll see people just going out in the wild and picking up rocks. You know what I mean? And just like all of a sudden carrying these big ass rocks, and it's like that is so cool. um Pretty much anything that will get me to move, lift, grab, hold, anything that I'm surrounded by or I'm around, I'm in. I'm interested. I just think that pushing your body to try different things is the best thing
Yeah.
you can do.
Are there any
Like you
tools that you thought like I don't get this, and then you started trying it, it's like, oh wow, this is like really beneficial? Are there any like tools that have kind of caught you off guard with either how impactful or like fun it is to incorporate into your program?
so I did try the maze a while ago, and I was like, I don't like this. What the hell is this? You know what I mean? And it was, and all it, mind you, I didn't have somebody live to show me. It was, through video calls, people would try to help me, or I would look at YouTube, which I know something like this, you always need somebody to kind of guide you. And then I got really frustrated. I'm like, okay, this, my arms are not going far enough. It was just, yeah, so that I was it looked awesome and I really wanted to do it, but I'm like, I don't have the patience, and it's just it's not clicking with me. I had the opportunity just recently to work with Victor with the club bells. And I was like, okay, he's coming to Toronto. This is a great opportunity. Um Let me get in on this. And honestly, having that one-on-one instruction, it's a game changer. Like you need the feedback, and this is why for me online training, when people come to me and they say, oh, I want to learn kettlebells, but they can't come see me or whatnot, it's very hard to do this online. Like it's okay if you have a background about it, and I can send you the program, whatnot, but to learn, to get the cues, it's a very different experience. So yeah, so the club bells, I was able to learn. That was really challenging for me, but I loved it. And now this weekend, actually, I'm gonna have a chance to get into some mace. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm just eternal student. I'm ready to learn it
It
all.
is the mace, the club. It's an interesting modality on it. I've dabbled in it a little bit myself, not enough that I can say I have any real experience behind it, but it is one of those things that everybody I know who's really adopted it and got into it is one very strong and one they really love it. So I'm like, there's definitely something to it.
Absolutely.
So anytime something like that pops up, I always take a little bit more note of like there's something to this that's that's coming forward. So that's really interesting from there.
Yeah, there's a lot of things out there like it's I think if we have the chance or we have that hunger to learn, it's so beneficial. So beneficial. I think the body was made to be pushed and to use different tools, different ways, and it's just I don't know. It's
Yeah.
empowerment. Knowledge is
Yeah.
empowerment
So
for
during
sure.
the week, I mean, you work at a manufacturing facility. You started training people in a boot camp style at the place there, and you've said like seeing people change in the workplace has been a really rewarding and powerful thing. What was that like building that into your business? Was that an easy thing that people jumped into, or was there a learning curve of getting in? Because I've been in business spaces where this is not really a norm type thing. Sometimes getting people to buy in is not the
Absolutely.
easiest thing. How did you go about doing that?
So the culture at my workplace is amazing in that the CEO is a health freak and he believes in, keep the employees happy and healthy and you're not going to have any issues, right? Or you're going to have less issues, less sick days. So at work, I mean, yeah, we have the gym facility, we have a badminton court, we have foosball, we have, table tennis, and he believes in, you work hard and you need to take a break to kind of reset and you do what you need to do and then you come back to work and you're refreshed. You're not just stuck at your desk all day. The boot camps, started years now. I've been doing it with them, and it was just a way for during your lunch hour, if you're willing to give up your lunch hour and come move, you're welcome to learn some things with the kettlebells especially. And it started off where I had like four coworkers um that would come and we would do our little boot camp thing once a week, every Wednesdays. And now it's grown to like, I can, depending if there's meetings or people are out or whatever, between 15 and 20, every
Awesome.
Wednesday. I have these guys that just show up and it's honestly, it's the best. It's so good. I've started doing weekly challenges for my coworkers where in the weekends I've come in, I'll put something on the board and you can get points. And it's just like a friendly competition thing. Tally up the points end of the week. And then, their name gets to be written on the board if they win, just to keep them moving,
Oh yeah.
it's such, and I guess I'm lucky because I'm able to see, like let's say a coworker that started years ago and barely knew anything, and I work with mechanical engineers. These guys are like, super smart machines and computers and all that stuff. And it's like, but movement, a lot of them don't train, don't go to the gym. You know what I mean? It's not part of their lifestyle. And to have them come to me every single week and I see that progression in strength, in cues, like in their squat form is just, I'm so proud.
No, I know. I love it.
you
There's
know?
such a beauty of that connection of movement in like our small tribes. And when I, saw that you were doing that, I was excited to bring it up because, especially with something like engineering, something that's very heady, like it's very serious work. It can feel like you're so in your
Absolutely.
own mind and you have your colleagues or you have your people that you have similar interests or similar work, but like getting together outside of that, what do you normally do? You go to a coffee shop or you're going to a bar or a restaurant. There's something where you're sitting down again and it's
Right.
more heady work
Right.
versus going out and going for a hike or doing a boot camp there of like there's a different
Absolutely.
type of connection and community that comes together when there's a physicality behind that. And I see it like I coach a kettlebell class at a local college here. And the other day, like just
Hmm.
as we were finishing up, I just heard out a bit. Someone's like, "That was so much fun," and I'm like, that's
Yeah.
such a fun
Yeah.
thing
Yeah.
to say. Like, it sounds so trite and like just kind of like cliche, but it's like, yeah, breaking up the seriousness of the day and everybody's so focused on what they need to do and we can get so frowny face throughout the day, of just breaking it up into,
Absolutely.
yeah, this is something you can get better at. Oh, you're using the 12K instead of the 8K and stuff. Like all those little
I
things, they bond
know.
together like so well. And it goes beyond just getting fit and like, like getting strong. There is a, like, there's a deeper side of connection when you add a physical component to it.
Oh, absolutely. And this is all optional. Like they're giving up their lunch time to do this. So they're going hard and they're out of breath and their heart rate is up there and they're tired and they're pushing and it's all optional. This is not mandatory. You know what I mean? And every Wednesday they show up. I see them come through the door and it's such
Yeah.
a good feeling.
Yeah.
Such a good
I love
feeling.
it. Um, You
Me
have a
too.
post that I love the writing on that I wanted to read is you said your body changes and that's the beauty of time. The goal isn't to fight it, it's to adapt with it. What worked at 25 might not serve you at 45, and that's not a loss, that's an evolution. Every stage is its own strength, its own rhythm, its own lesson. Growth doesn't stop, it just looks different on everyone. Yeah. What does that mean to you?
So I'm going to be 48 next month. And I think growing up, I've always heard, you know, around me, and I guess also from my mom. And the thing about my mother is she got polio when she was really young. So she's always had issues with one of her legs. So she could never do a lot of things that came regularly to people like running or any type of hard physical activity. Like she always was always in pain, so seeing that was a little hard for me as a child. She couldn't wear the nice high-heeled shoes. So I felt like I wanted to do all the things that she couldn't do, like run and jump and and I don't know. I think it's the culture I was around for some reason. Everyone kept saying, come 40, it's gonna suck. Everything's downhill. You're pretty much done. I would see, things on the internet. It's like, oh, after 40, a woman's value goes down because she's no longer, really able to bear kids, or almost like women are useless after that age. And I don't know why that kept coming up on my feed, and it was just it it angered me, I guess, because it's like, okay, but I'm wiser now, I'm stronger now, and I don't understand this mentality. And I don't subscribe. Yes, of course, I notice differences in I think I'm definitely slower than when I was, and in certain things, but I'm not gonna sit here and kind of be like, "Oh yeah, it's my age. I'm done for. I'm, you know, let's throw in the towel." Okay, I you just gotta use what you got. Things are gonna change. Things are gonna change. Yeah, I've got aches and pains. My lat is taking forever to heal, and it's annoying. But you still see me moving. You still see me working around it. Um, I just feel that there's beauty in every stage of your life. Do I wish I was still, had the strength when I was 25? But I didn't, because I wasn't training like I do train now. Mentally, I was in a different headspace. That's not, I wasn't into that. Timing is everything, and everything happens for a reason. Right now, I'm more aware of what my body's capable of. I have more education, more knowledge of what I can do. I can apply it properly and sensibly. I have access to, amazing physical therapists and coaches that can help me. It's it's a stage where I guess I was ready for. And this is why that post is important, because it's about timing, timing and appreciation. you have to appreciate every stage that you're at. And there was a time where I'm prone to kidney stones and I got sepsis. So I was I think 2 years ago I was in the hospital in the ICU and I was like bedridden. I couldn't do anything. And mentally from, the day before being at the gym and going hard to the next day being in a hospital, not being able to move like at all, like you have to have the nurse kind of like tend to you, that really like, you know, talk about a mind
Yeah.
fuck. That's like, it gets in your head. It's like, oh my God. Appreciation and gratitude of what your body can do at whatever stage. You're gonna get injured, you're gonna have the aches and pains and whatever, but still gratitude is huge. And if you can move. Like don't take it for granted, you know?
This line, every stage is its own strength. I think it's such the phrasing of that I really like, and I've speak about this before. It's like no matter what stage you're at, if you're a beginner, like you're just getting into this, which a lot of people are, like after 35 or 40 or 50 or 60. Like I used to work with people who were in their late 60s in retirement, never came from a culture of moving at all, and were just getting into it. It's very easy to look at all the things that you're missing, or oh my god, I'm at the beginning. I'm like, no, there's a strength in that as well. That means maybe you have no bad
Absolutely.
habits. Maybe you're learning everything for the first step. You get newbie gains
Exactly.
there. Or okay, now you're shifting. Maybe the recovery time at 45 is different than 25, but you may also know your body a lot more. You know how to dial up, or you know how to
Absolutely.
dial down at specific points. So it's it's not turning a frown upside down. It's like no, there's strengths in every stage that you're doing. And if you concentrate
Absolutely.
on that, you'll see those more in bold letters versus, yeah, there's going to be trade-offs, there's going to be challenges at different points on that, but there are also strengths. What are the strengths that you have? Maybe you got a lot of experience and now you know that, but at the same time, if you're just getting started, if this is just brand new to you, there's strengths in that as well. So lean into that as much as you can.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And this is why I love to work, especially with women who have never dabbled before with kettlebells or the barbell or just, basic fundamental training. And hey, I didn't get into that till my late 30s. You know what I mean? So I started late too. Team sports is very different than intentional specific, strength training. I was never actually taught, the squat pattern or any of that stuff. That was just, came later. But working with women and seeing that hunger wake in them, and as they try the movements and they're like, holy shit, I can do this, and it's like giving them a heavier weight where they look at me and they're like, okay, what are you doing? It's like, just trust me. Just trust me. I've seen you. I've seen your form. You're always safe. I would never do anything to hurt you. And then all of a sudden they grab that weight and they're going for it. And then their face just, the confidence is, I don't know, just seeing that on somebody's face is huge. And then I feed off that. I love that.
100.
Right. That's why I'm very particular with the clients I work with because I get something out of it. And that's their, their energy and their excitement. And that feeling, it transfers over to me and
Yeah.
that's the best. It's the best.
What are the common questions or challenges that you're hearing from women that are coming to you who are, maybe haven't really gone into strength training before? This is something very new. They're nervous. What are the common narratives and the struggles that you're hearing from them at the beginning stages?
In the beginning, it's definitely time and motivation. It's those are the huge ones. I mean, these are women that do it all. They take care of their kids, they take care of their family, they take care of the household plus work. I get it. I get it. Finding the time to get a workout in, and they tell me all the time it's different when they're coming to see me, you know, where for an hour they're working with me, and it's like they're removed from that world, from their regular day life world. So that part is not so bad. It's if they have to do it on their own and find a discipline to make time to do it on their own, and that is what I find the most challenging for women. It's, they're at home, if they don't really want to go to the gym, okay, they can go down into the basement, but actually finding that discipline to, okay, for an hour, you guys leave me alone. I got to get this done. You know what I mean? That is the most
Yeah.
challenging.
The motivation piece is fascinating to me. Um, because I think I've told people this before. I'm like, if you're coming and asking a coach a question or like just engaging in this, that is motivation. You came and you asked the question, like you are motivated and you did something about it. Like it doesn't there seems to be this attached like Rocky training montage that needs to come with
Hmm.
motivation where like everything is 100% intensity all the time based work, and
That's right.
that's just not the reality of what motivation is from there. And I think it has more to do with the energy that you're sitting in at the moment versus anything. Like if you're at work, right, doing like your 9 to 5, it's probably a very different energy that you're in that zone versus when you're in the gym and you're working out with your dog and you're doing all like your fun stuff there. It takes a moment of shifting into that energy in order to get there. So
Absolutely.
it's not just like it's an on switch or off switch. No, it's more of a dimmer switch that you need to do. Like getting into
Hmm.
some movement, like doing a get up or like some mobility work and just get yourself into that zone. I told this story often, Sylvia, when we were in the COVID lockdown and we had the studio and we started doing workouts from Zoom where people were in their living rooms or their dining rooms and we were just trying to follow along. Before we got into anything, I would just tell them to close their eyes. We took a couple deep breaths and said, wherever you are at your home right now, it's not your living room. It's not your dining room. Right
Right.
now, it's your training studio. This is where you go to get strong.
Hmm.
And just allowing for that 1 minute or 2 minutes to shift into that energy is enough to like, okay, like,
That's
all right,
right.
now I've got a little momentum going. I've gone from 0 to 1. So it's not
That's
often
right.
this like big grand thing like, oh, I don't feel motivated because I had a tough day and I don't feel like working out. That's not a lack of motivation. That's just you've probably been deep into an energy of one of the hats that you wear throughout the day. And I think it's just changing
Absolutely.
that shift in that
Absolutely.
narrative is an important thing when we talk about something like motivation.
Absolutely. And I also, this is why I stress in terms of when it comes to training, people are thinking, okay, a full 1 hour with a plan, it has to be nonstop, it has to be dedication. I'll post a lot of stories where I'm just randomly doing like whatever, if I'm hanging off a bar, or maybe a couple pull-ups here or some push-ups there, or just whatever, just random, like a burpee, a couple burpees. And this is all part of movement and training. It doesn't mean it's a full session. So whatever you can do to get your body moving, and body weight, it doesn't even you don't even have to have a weight. It's better than nothing, right? I mean, you're sitting down, you have some space, and it's like you just got to get curious. It's like, I wonder if I can hammer out 10 solid push-ups right now. Just curiosity, just out of nowhere. So I try to get that into their heads, where it's like, don't think about, if the whole idea of like finding a whole hour to train is just overwhelming and you just can't do it. And at the end of the day, it's priorities, right? I mean, it's if you want to do it, you're going to do it. At the end of the day, that's what it is, right? If you really want to do it, you will find a way to do it. If you don't want to do it, then at least find little bits and pieces during the day to do something, to move. And this is why I tell everybody, have a bar in your home, a pull up bar. Even if you don't know how to do pull ups yet, hang off it. You know, you can attach bands to it and just do some rows, some light movement, whatever. Every time you pass that bar, just do something to it. Even jump up and tap it and then keep going. Just something. Just something. Just little bits and pieces, because you never know what is going to stir within you. Then you'll be like, okay, what if I could do this? All the stuff that you see me do, like my videos, whatever, it's me mostly, I wonder if this is how I do it, right? Like the weird ass challenges I'll do on the bar or whatever. This is all me just sitting there and going, you know what? I wonder if I can still do that, or if I can do that, or how many reps I can get. It's
I
curiosity.
love that. I
That's
love
all it
that. The
is,
power of curiosity is
you know?
interesting. Yeah.
Absolutely. And then after all of it's done, it's you've moved and you've done something and you've exerted yourself and you've pulled your body weight or you've squatted your body or something. It's like it's better than nothing. And that curiosity is it's so beneficial. I don't know. It's for me, I consider it playtime. And I think this is something that a lot of people don't do anymore. And it's just play and get curious and just don't even think about it as like, full strict training, or that's not training, that's not, but you're still moving, you're still doing something, right?
That's yeah, it's this talk about like, it's a workout or it's training, like it's this very like, brow down, like focus type zone and stuff like it's like, no, you can just have this curiosity of just play in there. Like,
Absolutely.
yeah.
And have fun
Well,
with
that's
it.
why I think like any, a class setting is very good. Something that just like gets you into like sort of that like playful aspect of it. If you're enjoying the process, like you are going to do it very well. And there's times and moments if there's specific things to work on where yeah, you got to do what you need to do at specific times to follow the plan and get that
Absolutely.
down. But I think we lose sight maybe as adults a little bit more of like that imagination and curiosity of just like trying something out. Often like those are the things that come out so much where nowadays, I mean, specifically with I've talked about this recently about the advancements in technology and AI and everything like that, it's allowed such a path of least resistance for finding the answer to something where some, sometimes
Absolutely.
the journey to arriving at an answer is more important than actually finding the answer because it's the old line of Bilbo Baggins, I'm going on an adventure. Like there's
Yeah.
something about the adventure
Absolutely.
of, I wonder if I can hang on that bar for, oh, I can do it for 15 seconds. Oh, maybe I can do it for 20 all of a sudden like you're
Exactly.
just playing around with it and it's turning it into just a curious part of the day and there's a cognitive benefit to that at the same time as a physical benefit to it and if you combine those two it's going to stay on your mind, it's going to maintain a priority because there's an element of enthusiasm and excitement to it.
Absolutely. And this is why a lot of the women I work with, um, you know, the ones that come to me and say, "Oh, I want to fit into this dress," or, I want to lose a certain amount of weight. Ideally, I'm not the best person to work with because I'm there for you have to love the journey, like you were talking about. Because yes, the end goal is going to happen regardless. If you go on this journey and you do the stuff anyway without even thinking about it because you're having so much fun, then all of a sudden you're going to turn around and it's like, oh shit, I can fit in this dress. Or, you know, it's if you can enjoy the journey and really take in like the strength that you're getting or what you're able to do or how you're able to push yourself and what that feels like and what you feel like the next day when you're like, oh, I'm sore, but it's a good sore. You have these people are like, you ask them, oh, how you feel today? They're like, oh, I'm so sore, but it's a good sore. It's like they like it, and this is what I think this is the beauty in the journey. If you can enjoy the everyday of what you do or how you push your body, what comes with it later? I mean, yeah, all of a sudden you're gonna turn around and yeah, you're just gonna be healthier, happier, you're sleeping better, your mood is better, and you're probably fitting into that dress anyway. Like it's I always I always stress, don't stress too much on the aesthetics part, you know? They always, women like, oh, this part, what do I do with this part? I'll go to a mall and, people look at me like, oh, you must be a trainer. What do I do about this part? And I'm like, no, yes, I train, but it's not my full-time gig. I just love to move because I want people to know that there are people out there that just do this for fun. You know what I mean? This is not because I'm trying to make money off you or whatever. This is my living. No, I love this. I love to move. And this means you just have to get strong, work on all of this. All of this will work on this. There is no just magic this. Obviously, it's diet. I mean, that's, everybody knows that. But you want you want to work on this. It's just get strong. Get strong. Get all over strong. Get full body strong. Work on everything. It's not just about the crunches or just working on the abdomen. No, man, just work on everything. Everything, and then it all comes together. And this is one thing that's a lot of women don't cannot
I get
grasp,
it. Yeah.
you know?
I want to
So
close out asking you about your relationship with social media and the work. You built a very big following of work that you do. You're very uh, consistent with it, and you just have a very authentic message from it. But it's a wild, wild west out there in fitness with work there. What has it been like for you? A lot of people are following you now, of commenting on stuff and working with. What's your relationship like with the social media world, with fitness and that side of culture?
so I have been very blessed and very grateful with the social media community. Like you said, like this is not predominantly a business for me. I didn't start creating content because I was trying to promote myself as a coach or anything like that. This is just me putting out what I do on any given day, how I move, how I choose to move, and I always stress my age because for some reason, like I told you, people think, oh, over 40 now, over 45. It's like, oh my God, everything's just so much harder. But it's like, I knock on wood, I haven't missed a beat. And I do have a lot of posts. I have like, yeah, over 2,000 posts. It's a consistency thing. I am so grateful for the connections and the community because we push each other, and I've gotten in contact with so many amazing women that's all over the world, right? And this is something about media that is so precious. It's like you're able to connect from somebody half across the world, and you get to see what they do, and you can like contact each other and push each other, and it's just so good, so good. The collabs. um I've been pretty lucky. I see what some other women get in terms of comments, and sometimes it's like negative. I've been I mean, I've been blessed. I haven't had any come my way. I mean, I'm sure there's always something that comes out of it, but I haven't really received anything negative. But media for me has, I guess, I wouldn't, if, let's say if there was no media, would I keep doing what I do? Yes, because I need to move. If I don't move, I'm like, I don't know, something bad is gonna happen. I need to exert that energy. But honestly, what keeps me going is the number of messages that I will get. More in my DMs of people saying, "Oh, thank you so much for reminding me I did my pull-ups today," or "I'm going to start doing pull-ups again." And, "Oh, look at this move, I'm going to try doing this." Um, or they'll ask me for advice. And that for me is so cool because I I see that they're seeing what I do, and they're not just like listening to the music or looking at what I'm wearing. They're looking at my moves, and they're breaking it down, and they're trying to see, okay, can my body do that? And what do you think I should do to get to that? Or, oh, you just reminded me I haven't done that in years. I'm going to start doing that too. Or they'll send me a video of themselves doing something, and it's so cool. It's such a good feeling that I don't know, like I've become so from with me and media, it's like, I'll do something, I'll post it, and I won't think about it. I'll respond to messages, I'll respond to comments, but I don't sit there and think, oh my God, is somebody watching this, or what are they thinking, whatever. Like, I don't really analyze it that seriously. So when I get these messages, it's like a reminder. It's like, oh my God, that's right, I'm being watched. You know what I mean? Like it's weird to say, I know, because I'm so
Mhm.
active on media. But the messages, honestly, and then the people's feedbacks, and they'll reach out and they'll tell me and they'll thank me, for getting them moving, is it's hard to describe that feeling. Especially when you wake up to a message like this from across the world, someone in Europe, because of the time zone, and I'll wake up and I'll check my messages, it's just such a nice, heartfelt message from somebody, and it just
Yeah.
feels so
I
good.
love that. I think, yeah, I
It's
think
so
the way
awesome.
that you approach it and what you do, just, that word authentic gets thrown around so much, but it's one of those things. It's like the wind, like you can't see it, but you feel it. And that's, what I see from the work, that you do. And I think more people should approach it that way, as you said, of, this is what I do, and, uh, there's so much negative connotations around the world of social media where it's very easy to get jaded behind. There's a lot of good connections and great things that can happen from it too if you're approaching it in the right way. So I'm glad it's been such a good experience for you and the work that you do. I think I've been one of those people that has said, "Oh, thank you for reminding me to do pull-ups today," because I've been in there. So yeah,
I love
I
it. I
appreciate it.
love
So
it. I
yeah.
love it. It's so
Sylvia,
good.
this has been great. It's really been awesome getting to know you and seeing the work that you do. I love what you're doing, and I appreciate you coming on today. This has been great.
Thank you. No, I love this, and it's good. It's always good to reiterate these messages, because there's just so much going on in media right now. There's so many people, there's so many trends, and there's so many things, and it's like, just keep it simple. Just keep it simple. Move your body. Get out of that headspace that you're done for, or you're too old, or that's it, your time has come and gone, because that's so sad. Like, every stage, like I said, every stage has its beauty. Right now you're older, you're wiser, you know what you want, what you need, what feels good, what doesn't feel good. And I think you just, again, that curiosity. Get curious about things. Get curious about your strength, about what your body is capable of. If you find that you're unable to do something, or something hurts, then get it looked at. It's body awareness is so important.
I love
So
it. Yeah.
important.
Close this
And
out.
that's it.
Walt Whitman, be curious, not judgmental. That's how we'll close it here. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Sylvia,
Absolutely.
if people want to follow you, check out more of what you're doing, what's the best place that we can direct?
So Instagram. Instagram. I'm on Facebook too, but honestly, I'm not as active on Facebook. Instagram is my main platform. It's just, I post everything on there. It's just easy to get a hold of me there. So definitely
What's your handle?
Instagram. Sylvia underscore Takada.
Perfect. Sylvia, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Listeners,
Thank
thank you
you.
so much. We'll catch you on the next one. Peace.